5 pro tips to help you win more games at FC26. Well, you've come to the right place. My name is Tom Lees. I'm an FC26 pro, and I'm going to get you better at the game. And here's how we're going to do it. For every tip, I'm going to tell you what it is. I'll tell you how to perform it, and then we'll analyze an example to see how it's best used. Tip number 1, low driven shots and finesse shots. Now, there's 2 different shot types here, so we'll start with the finesse shot. The finesse shot is really easy to perform. You just press circle like a normal shot and hold R1 as you're doing it. For the best performance on finesse shots, you want your player to have the play style, either silver or gold. Other players can finesse, but it's better when they've got the play style. So let's analyze an example. I'm drawing this game 7-7, something we'll get used to in FC26. And you can see I'm going to win the ball back and create an opportunity for a finesse. Now, what I want to talk about when this is happening is that finesse shots just outside the box might be a viable option, but do not finesse it anything further than 25 yards back. It will not go in. EA got rid of time finishing this year. Finesse shots from real long range do not work. The finesse shot's all about creating the angle, to be honest. Inside the box or just outside, you need an angle either left or right, depending on what foot your player is. I call this the Thierry Henry angle. He ruined my childhood. I've seen him do this many a times against my football club, and it's how finesse shots best work. When you're facing the goal straight on, they're not as powerful, but on the left and the right, with slight angle, that's when you can wrap round. It's going to finesse it with the inside of a foot, and it'll give you a perfect animation to score. So the finesse shot is really simple. You're either going from the left or the right, slightly inside the box for the best results. But the more reliable finish, and the one that you have to use in FC26, is the low drivens. So how do we perform the low driven shot? Again, it's fairly simple. You power up your shot like normal, and then once you've powered it up, you tap circle again. So tapping circle twice will lead to a low driven shot. If you see here, I'm drawing 1-1 in the pro ladder. You can get it to pinner. And when I've got that angle that I can't wrap a finesse, that's when you do the low driven. And where's the best way to perform this? When you're facing the goal straight on, either in the middle, left or right, just be facing the goal. So you see here, I'm playing in the pro ladder, create the space for pinner. She's facing the goal and you see the low driven. Again, she does have low driven plus as the play style, so it's an even better performer. But I'm telling you, if you just watch that again, it's very, very simple. It's like FIFA 17. If there's anyone out there play FIFA 17, maybe you're too young, maybe I'm showing my age, maybe you need to know about the low drivens. These used to dominate the game in the exact same fashion they are now. Basically, when you're facing the goal, you can see with pinner, I don't have time to turn in and finesse. Not that I'd want to because she's right-footed, but if I did want to use a finesse shot, it's not going to be used here. Instead, we're facing the goal. We're on our strong foot. It's just as simple as powering it up, as you see the power bar. And then once I've done that, I just press circle again, low driven activated, and it is an accurate finish. See here with pinner, I then play it to my cam Zico, one-on-one again. And it's just such a reliable finish. That's one thing you're really going to pick up. It is reliable. Even without the low-driven playstyle, people can do it. So I win the ball high up with it with Zico. Again, this time, you see how it just sneaks in at the near post. This does something to the goalkeeper animations. I can tell you that. You can see when Zico shoots there, something about the goalkeeper animation, it goes under them really well. If I shot at him there without the low-driven, he would just save it and go out for a corner. But with the low-drivens, the animation is perfect, and the keepers don't know what they're doing. It is such a reliable finish. So let's summarize finesse shots and low drivens. Both shots are really easy to perform. The finesse shot is best used when you're on an angle and you want to curl it into the corner, and the low driven shot is best used when you're facing the goal and you're looking for a bottom corner finish. Tip number 2 is the double tap through ball. Double tap, lofted, slight bounce, whatever you want to call it, you know what I'm talking about. Now, this is really easy to perform as well. Instead of just pressing triangle, you press triangle twice. That will give it a slight loft of the ball. So as you press triangle, just tap it again, and then it will give it a slight loft that's going to make this unbelievably good. Trust me, it's broken, so you're going to want to listen. So you can see here, he's attacking me. I'm showing a goal I concede, by the way. But look at that. You see it. You see the low driven as well, and you realise we're actually cooking it. But look at what happens. My Van der Ven tracks the run perfectly. That through ball is not on. But because my opponent has double tapped triangle, lofted it ever so slightly, it just lifts over the centre-back and changes the animation. Changes the trajectory of the whole pass. Because I promise you, that would not work with a normal through ball. So we'll see again here. I'm showing you goals my opponents score against me because I can't defend them. If you don't mind me saying myself, I feel like I've tracked that pretty well. And somehow, it still goes through Van der Ven and Marquinhos. Again, does not happen when a normal through ball's played. The double tap makes a difference. And then I decided I've had enough. I've conceded way too many of these. I'm going to score one myself. Look what happens there. That one's interesting. Because of the way I receive the ball from Reinders, where it's a double tap, you can see with Pinner, it like opens up to go the other way. Everyone would expect me to go on the left, but because the trajectory changes, the way the double tap works, I can then go on my right and create the space. It's perfect for them small, intricate through balls. We know in FC26, tiki-taka is king. Small, quick passes around the box is what we love. The double tap through ball is the way to take your game to the next level. And the best thing is how simple it is. Let's summarize the double tap through ball. It's really simple. You just double tap triangle to perform it. It is best used in and around the box for the small 5 to 10 yard through ball passes. And you don't just use this in every situation, only in certain ones. Don't go away from this and just make every through ball a double tap. It only works in certain areas of the pitch. Also, guys, remember to subscribe if you want more videos like this. If you don't subscribe, you're not getting them. Tip number 3 is timing your tackles. Timing your tackles is really important in FC26. You cannot spam the tackle button anymore, otherwise your players go out of shape and your defensive line becomes a mess. So to perform a tackle, you press circle. I feel like I had to show that with you because it follows the structure of the video. But yeah, you're pressing circle. The aim actually here is to not press circle too much. Now in FC26, if you spam tackle and you don't win the ball, your player goes out of shape straight away. You can see my Van der Ven is a prime example. I just feel bad for Van der Ven here because he's actually catching a lot of flack. This could have been anyone. It's just Van der Ven for this example. Basically, if you ever tackle without truly being confident you'll win the ball, your defensive line just completely goes. Once they've tackled, they cannot recover. In previous FCs, previous FIFAs, you could tackle and your player would be back in position in no time. They've got rid of that. You have to be very methodical. You have to think about when to tackle now. You can see with Van der Ven, he comes out, tries tackling Bob Matty, and I'm so far out of shape. There's no way of recovering again. It's not just the tackle, it's the way your defensive line operates from it. So Van der Ven tackling there might not have been the worst thing in the world, but if you look at the defensive line, they go completely AWOL. They just create the biggest hole ever. I am not complaining at this, by the way. This is a good feature of the game. You have to think about tackling. I'm just telling you how it works. This is not a complaint. And I'll give you another example of this happening. You see I'm 1-0 up in a pro game and I go to spam tackle and then I'm out of position. Look at Van der Ven. Look how far away he is when I try and tackle in the box. I try and win that. As soon as I lose it, Van der Ven's out the game. He cannot recover that. There's actually enough time to go back as well. You could argue in a previous game, Van der Ven would have got back and recovered, but as soon as I press circle, when I wasn't going to win the ball, he's out. He's gone. And then another example, I'm playing Vitality Brees, Vice World Champion. You see Van der Ven there jump in and he's out of position. He does recover. I try and tackle with Marquinhos and he's out the game. If you do not time that tackle, it is over. So if we just stop that there. You can see with Van der Ven, I don't need to do it. I'm behind the striker. I'm never going to win the ball there. I've dived in. That creates the space. We're now against a very dangerous situation because my defensive line is a shambles. I then try and do it with Marquinhos. I don't time it. It is all about timing. You have to know exactly when you want to tackle. And if you're not sure, don't do it. Just keep tracking the player. I'll show you an example of how to time your tackle and go at the right time. This is my opponent in a pro game once again. You can see I'm building up on the edge of the box. He's tracking my runs. He's not diving in and pressing circle. And then when the time is right, he sees it at Marquinhos and comes in with a big tackle to win the ball back. He probably had an opportunity throughout that whole passage to have a few nibbles at me and try and press circle, which would have got a player out of position. He's decided to wait until it's Marquinhos. Big tackle at the right time and you win the ball back. Side note, this is not an excuse to be a rat and just sit there not tackling anyone and just jockeying the whole time. That's not what I'm advising here. I'm advising to make sure when you do tackle, it's the right time and the right place. But if you sit off too much, I promise you that won't work as well. You might think it will temporarily, then you'll come back to this video in 2 months and go,
Tom, I should have listened to you actually. I do need to press tackle. I shouldn't just be a jockeying little rat.
And if you've been offended by that, that's your problem. Now let's summarize timing your tackles. Press circle to tackle, but only do it when necessary. Don't keep spamming the tackle button. It's not going to get you anywhere and your players are going to go out of position. When the time is right, hit the tackle button, win the ball back, and live a prosperous life. Tip number 4, technical dribbling. And in particular, technical dribbling off your first touch. Stay with me. Technical dribbling was busted at the start of FC24 and it is the same in FC26. They brought it back and it is even better. So how do you do it? When dribbling, controlling your player with left stick, just hold R1. Holding R1 will activate the technical dribble and your players are going to have the ball stuck to their feet. As a side note, this is best performed when the player has technical playstyle, either silver or gold, but it is good regardless. So technical dribbling is really, really good, but what I really want to highlight is doing it straight off your first touch. Now, we'll see with that goal, we're going to watch this a few times, what actually happens. We can technical dribble anywhere, but I really want to highlight it in the box off your first touch. It kind of guarantees you that you're going to get a nice touch from the get-go. So you see, I have the ball with Mbappe, play into Zico, and I'm straight into R1 dribbling. No messing around. As soon as I've got the ball, I'm straight into it. It just means he can, like, glide on the ball. Now, obviously, this is Zico. It's a little bit pay to win. But with any player who's got technical dribbling, it's going to have the same effect. Once they receive it, you can kind of like glide off the first touch. The ball sticks to your feet, and it's really good at creating the space. This is why I really want to highlight it being off the first touch, by the way. You can do this everywhere. I've already told you that. But try and do it off the first touch. You see my opponent is going to use it really well here. He's building up out wide. Not many options. And then look, as soon as he gets it to Morgan, that R1 dribbling activated straight away. As soon as he's received it. And look how the ball just sticks to her feet. In that area, it is so hard to defend because the striker's so much more agile than defender this year. And the technical dribbling just means the ball is stuck like a bit of glue. And obviously into a low-driven finish, which you've already learned. Let's summarize technical dribbling. You hold R1 to activate it when dribbling with your player. It is best used with players that have the playstyle either silver or gold, or small, agile players. And to use it best, hold R1 off your first touch when receiving the ball. As soon as you receive the ball, hold R1, and no one's going to get near you. Tip number 5. The second man press. The second man press, something I've covered in a previous FC, but it's so important this year. I have to cover it again. And the way you perform it is holding R1 when defending. When you hold R1, you'll be able to control your player and also have another player go over to the ball and try and press for you, hence second man press. It's a really effective way of putting pressure on the ball, but also if you don't use it properly, it will put your backline all over the place, and that's what we don't want. So we know it's holding R1 when defending. Let's get into it. Firstly, I'm going to show you how not to use it. We see this example, I'm 4-3 up. You can see straight away, I'm second man pressing with Van der Ven. I don't let go of it, and he completely runs out of the back line. Instead of running back to his position, I continue to hold second man press, and it just drags him out of the way. Now, obviously, Marquinhos is further back. I understand that. And if I just left Van der Ven and didn't hold second man press, he would also run back to get in position. If you didn't know by now, the game by default, if you're not touching a player, they will just run exactly to where their position should be. That applies to corners, kickoffs, and any other part of the game. The other 9 AI, if you're not second man pressing and you're not holding a player, they just get back into position. So with Van der Ven, if I just left him alone and I didn't hold second man press the whole time, he would have got back in position and there wouldn't have been that much space. I wanted to get the ball, I was too aggressive, and look what happens. Now, I want to show you how to use it effectively. You can see here, I'm trying to put pressure on the ball. I'm trying to make sure he doesn't go through. And it's a very small moment of second man press that actually impacts this massively. So you can see he has the ball with Pinner and he's looking for a pass. I track his next pass with De Jong. So I switch to De Jong to make sure he can't pass to where he wants to. But to make sure I've got pressure on the ball, I hold R1 and have Reinders really pressurizing the ball holder. And this is where it's most effectively used, because if you can quickly switch to your second man press when the time is right, then you'll win the ball back. You see, I quickly press L1 to switch, I get Reinders, and I can go and aggressively win the ball back because he's already putting pressure on the ball. Because of second man press, he's really close. If I didn't second man press, he'd be a couple yards back, which would give my opponent more time to think, and they'll be able to get a pass off. But that's one example of when it's used best. If you're trying to track another run, holding second man press actually puts pressure on the ball still, so they don't just have infinite time to do whatever they want. I've got an example in the same game here. You can see I need to track this through ball the whole way. I was worried that he was going to get a run in late in the game. The most dangerous man is the one that's running in behind, so I made sure I tracked that run. However, I needed pressure on the ball. I can't just let them run at me and keep pinning me back. I need pressure to be on the ball. It has upset my defensive line. However, in this situation, it is worth doing, because if I didn't track him, or if I didn't put pressure on the ball, he'd be able to just pin me back and get close to my box. So to make sure I didn't give him space and give him time to pick out the through ball, I had the second man press with Marquinhos whilst tracking the run. And then when I realised he can't play the through ball, I quickly switched to Marquinhos, win the ball, and that is a game winning tackle. So you can see the difference of when to use it and when not to use it. So when not to use it, when you're controlling the player closest to the ball already and it's going to drag someone else out of position. If you get two people out of position, if you don't win the ball back, it's very risky, it doesn't work. It is best used when you're already trying to mark another pass and you need to put pressure on the current ball holder, but you can't because you're too busy tracking the through balls. So let's summarize the second man press. You hold R1 to activate the second man press when defending. It's not good to use when you've already got pressure on the ball and it's going to lead to someone else being out of position. It is also not good to use when holding it forever. Don't just hold R1 aimlessly, it won't work. And it is best to use when you're tracking another run or you're marking another pass and you need to put pressure on the current ball holder. The main thing is not to hold it for too long. I promise you, it will cause you problems. They're my 5 pro tips. Hopefully you win more games as a result, and if you don't, remember to blame Shuri.
I'm not even rising to it. Do you know what? That's crazy.